What's up, guys? Another day. We made it another day together. I'm excited. I'm a little nervous at the same time. A lot of good things were said about my short film. I really appreciate those, and people that had constructive criticism. Constructive criticism sucks, but it's absolutely necessary if you want to become a better filmmaker. And what do I mean by constructive criticism? Something that is negative but helps. Like just telling somebody that their movie sucks doesn't help anybody. It makes them feel small, and it doesn't help because you didn't tell them what sucked. Now, if you said that camera angle kind of sucked, I'd probably say in a different way, because it's very hard to take constructive criticism, but you have to be able to do that. So today, I'm going to go through my latest short film and show you every way that I see now that I'm done with it and I can get back, take a step back and look at it. Now I can see where I made mistakes and where I did things well, and hopefully you can learn from that process and not have to make the same mistakes as I did. You can learn from my mistakes. With that being said, let's roll the bumper. So basically, we're just going to watch the movie together. I'm going to point a couple things out, what I like, what I would do differently, and yeah, this is going to be very painful for me. Here we go. We start out with the Lunascope bumper. I made this bumper myself. I really like it, but I probably would have, in retrospect, had it start out with the music from the movie itself and not the music from this. Just have the video with the music from the movie playing in on top would probably just bring you in a little bit easier. I'm not going to stop it after every second, but obviously this line was put in because of current things going on. I was told by a lot of people that because the backstory of this movie was so similar to what was going on that I had to put a nod to it. The original line just said 13 months later. And I still like that line better, but yeah, I caved to peer pressure. Don't cave to peer pressure. It's your movie, remember that. Another thing, this is the very first scene of the movie, and it was filmed as a throwaway shot at the end of the busiest day. Probably wasn't the best idea. There's a lot of dialogue right in here that was cut at the beginning, but you know, you live and learn. And here comes Dan. That's Dan Kyle. Dan Kyle is huge. That's Daniel O'Reilly on the right.
I told you specifically not to do anything until we decided the time was right.
I love this shot. Love the intensity. Love the face-to-face.
Christ, kid, you really do have shit timing.
Don't call me that.
Oh, that's what you're worried about. Fine. I won't call you kid. Shithead seems a little more appropriate.
Love the build with the music.
Well, how about P-Brain? Because your P-Brain can't comprehend anything beyond your own personal agenda.
And here's where things start going.
It was just there
to be my fault. So Dan Kyle, this guy over here, is about 6'4", and Daniel O'Reilly is about 6 foot. Now, I made the mistake of wanting to get an over-the-shoulder shot, but because of that, our director of photography was not tall enough to do so, so we had to stand on an apple box, which caused this downhill view of Danny O'Reilly, which suffers for it. You can see how it's not eye level, it's kind of got that tilt to it.
You look into my eyes and you ask.
On the flip, Dan Kyle's pretty much eye level, if not looking up. It's always better to look up at somebody, makes them look more powerful. Looking down, especially at this angle, if you're looking down on someone, do it for a purpose and really exaggerate it. When it's just a little bit down, it just gives you a feeling like something's not right here. And the way I could have fixed that is, A, I could have just not done the over-the-shoulder shot, had the camera stand where Dan Kyle was, and just shoot Danny straight on. I could have had Danny stand on an apple box, although he wouldn't have had the motion to move around as much because he'd be limited to the foot space of the apple box. But either of those would have been better than this angle.
Eyes and you ask me that again.
Then what, Bruce, huh? I did what I had to do. I saw an opportunity and I took it.
You didn't think I'd catch him tiptoeing close to camp, but I didn't. I lit him up and I watched.
Love the intensity from these two.
You or them or anybody else can take that fucking joy away from me.
Another thing to point out here, all that light coming in through the window is artificial light. That's the Aperture 300D with some haze going on in there. I forget the brand of the hazer, but I'll find out if I can.
Settle your own personal vendetta. Who else was with him?
Just him and one gunner.
Another thing, this is Calvin Moore McCarthy, another very talented actor. He couldn't be there on the day we were shooting that. That's why we had to get the cutaway separately and not have them all in the same room. Nobody that hasn't been a part of the movie has noticed, so that's good, but that's a way you can work around that in future endeavors of yours. And we had somebody off screen there still reading the lines in the spot that he was going to be in so they can still hold their eye line.
Who? Gunner?
Yeah.
I mean, I guess he looked familiar, but no, I really can't place him. Although, I did notice that he had a tattoo, a word on his collarbone.
Love the music. Dun 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 dun.
Hers.
Miles Ito, by the way, is the one who did the score for this. Did it all from scratch. A wonderful composer. If you guys are looking to hire a very professional composer, Miles Ito is somebody you should look at.
There's no judges or juries out here.
Another thing that would have helped this scene is there was no rehearsals before the shoot because Danny O'Reilly is from Los Angeles, so I didn't want to bring him up here and not have the budget to pay him for rehearsal days and, you know, make him not earn while he's just staying up here. And because of that, the chemistry suffered, and so I think a lot of problems on this could have been fixed by just having better pre-production, and that's something I'll carry on to my next film.
He said no.
But Danny still brings it, I tell you.
He said no. He didn't remember.
But it'd be so much better if the angle was a little below him or eye level.
Until he remembered. Come here.
Totally cuts him off at the knees. This part, I wish I would have gotten a reverse of Danny's face, but his face is just put into Dan Kyle's chest because, again, Dan is so tall, so it makes Danny look small, which I didn't want him to look small. If you want to know what the rest of the lighting situation is, we have an Aperture 120D bouncing up top on the ceiling, kind of bouncing down at him, and then a big, like, 8x8 reflector on the fill side. So a fun fact here is this isn't the building we actually even shot in on the first part. It's this little building back here, which shows you don't have to settle for the exterior of where you shot the interior shots on. You can actually make it flow with other locations. There's Andeshay just standing on a truck out here with a big assault rifle. Yeah, that's fun too. Yeah, the ADR problem. I'm very happy with how I can get people's mouths to match what they are saying. But at this point, I still wasn't that good at ADR. I have since learned that you want to keep the person about as far away as they are in the scene, which in the studio, I had them much closer, and it sounds like that. The reason I had to use ADR is because this location, which is a wonderful location, is right next to a giant highway. So all you can hear is car sounds, and yeah, actually here, I'll show you a little bit of what that sounds like right here.
I need you to go and tighten up the lookouts. Tell them the threat level has risen. Have them sound off if they see anything out of the ordinary.
Got it.
Chet, I need you to make sure that our accounts are up to date.
Yeah, sounds good, boss.
So yeah, you can definitely hear the audio problems we were having, but you know, those things happen, and you have to rise above them. And I think we did an okay job, but it's definitely something that I noticed. I just wanted to point it out.
Hey, how did it go?
Oh. So you're the one that told him, huh?
Had to be done. Now we can move forward.
You know, you really didn't give Ryan a chance to tell him.
Who knows how long that would have taken? I assume the fact that you're here is a good sign. They all right?
Yeah, they're cool. Bruce is coming up with something. I'll see you later.
Sounds good, buddy. Apple, Larry?
What's up with all these damn apples? Isn't there anything better around here to eat?
So now that you have kind of a better idea of the layout of this area, I'm going to try to draw just a rudimentary overhead of what I'm talking about here. So there's 3 main buildings here, and because the camera's panning around and doing a one-shot, I didn't want to get in the way at any time. So I'm around this corner, which is that first building that the actors came out of, with Video Village and the focus puller, and I'm looking off a monitor. The problem with that is we didn't have wireless sound, so I can only see the performances. I couldn't hear the performances. What I should have been doing is standing directly behind the cam operator. His name is Jake Sundahl in this situation. He did a fabulous job. I should have been directly behind him so I can see and hear everything that's going on. And yeah, there's nobody to blame but me. That's why every now and then certain performances didn't come off with the same tone I wanted them to come off with. But that's my fault because I couldn't hear what was going on. Other than that, I'm pretty happy with how this shot came out. There's a lot of moving parts here, and we pulled it off.
Yeah, we just need to tighten things up.
So what's the plan?
Everyone's on task. We need to be ready if they
Another fun fact right over here. This is my mom and my Aunt Val, who was like a second mom to me growing up. I like to put them in the backgrounds of my movies because they're very special people to me. And yeah, that way I can see them and be like, haha, there they are. Also, my stepdad is the one playing with the wood here in just a few minutes.
When they notice that their men have gone missing, we're going to be the ones they hit first.
And what if they don't come? How long do we have?
Chet's working up the counts. We'll figure it out then. Hey, Chet.
There he is.
All right,
That's my stepdad, Bob.
Nice.
How are the counts?
Good. Think it should last us, I don't know, another month?
And the ammo?
Oh, I don't know. Brenda's working on that.
So you hear how that line was a little bit different than the rest of them? Well, that's because I forgot to somehow record that line when he was here recording ADR. And yeah, so I had to scramble and try to work with the on-set audio again, getting all that car noise out. And that's the result. Again, learn from it. Don't make the same mistake.
Copy that.
I like the music here. The composer, Miles, he did a really good job of feeling with the feelings I wanted to feel in this scene.
Glad when it's over.
That brotherly bond.
Oh, Bruce.
Thanks, Ryan.
Obviously, those are both visual effects shots. Right there, we do have a makeup artist. His name was Zach Smith, very talented makeup artist, who had a tube running under a prosthetic there, and so it's funneling blood out. That's why the blood increases as the scene goes on. Again, if I had it to do over again, I'd probably tell my actor here, you should probably point the gun at the sniper. But again, we had so many things going on, it just slipped by. And yeah, this is Andeshay Taj up here, another very talented actor in the Portland area. That was Jason Reynolds there yelling, "Covered me." Yeah, he did a great job as well. Now, in my opinion, this is where the movie takes off, if you ask me. From here to the end, I'm very happy with how things turned out. And again, just because I'm pointing out all these things that went wrong with it, I'm very happy with how this short film came out. I'm just putting on that hypercritical focus onto what I would do differently, so that way we can learn from my mistakes. So in the gunshot parts, like you can see coming up right in here, you see how they're dodging real things? I had a paintball gun that I filled with like dirt pellets that would ricochet off the trees and give them something to react to. It worked out really well. The actors really had a good time with it.
I got him!
And it's a girl. Ooh.
Something funny?
It's Arissa Durant. She is a very talented actress as well.
Still
Does a
funny?
great job here at the end.
Easy.
She's gotta be a scout, right? But we didn't see her yesterday. We checked. Hey. Who are you?
I'm not a scout. Fucking hypocrites.
What the fuck are you doing so close to our camp?
We didn't know how close we were. And you know what? Fuck you.
Hey! Shit.
What?
That gunner had a similar tattoo.
Another problem here is that's kind of a big insert right there. You probably want to have that insert shot. When I went to cut everything together, I realized I had not recorded an insert shot of that tattoo, which is kind of important. So I had to zoom in, take out all the grain, stabilize it, and you can see a little bit of motion blur on it. And so yeah, moral of that story, make sure you get your pickup shots, especially your inserts, especially when they're important.
Shit.
What?
Rewound a little bit
That
just so
gunner
you can
had a
see the
similar
motion blur.
tattoo.
He wasn't a gunner. He just happened to have a gun. We all have guns out here. You killed him because he was standing next to the wrong person. And we're the bad guys.
Hold on.
None of this matters.
Danny's about to
First it
break.
matters.
No, he's right. I knew what he would do.
You need to stop.
My husband used to tell me that fate had a wicked sense of humor. I can see it now.
Your husband is dead. I killed him.
And that's what killed your brother.
It's all sinking into him now. Does he sit with this and say, "You're right, you can go"? Or does he snap? That's my favorite shot, obviously. I really like headshot. There's a practical headshot, obviously, but there is VFX in there. When we did the squib off the back of her head, basically Danny had the gun up. We had the squid ready to fire. I had my finger on the trigger of the squib, and then I counted out loud, 1, 2, 3, go. And on go, he pulled the trigger. I hit the squib, and she snapped her head back, and everybody timed it perfectly. But the squib hit a little bit high, so I had to do a little bit of VFX blood down lower. So everything right in here, in the lower parts, is all CGI VFX right there.
So now what?
We killed them all.
Oh, I love the way the music stopped right there, and then it stopped after he shot her and started back up right there. That was all the idea of Miles Ito, the composer. Did a great job. I'm going to let these credits run, and I'm going to talk about each one. I'm the guy you're watching, obviously. Miles Ito was absolutely fantastic. I use him in every movie I do. Trevin Mador was the guy behind the camera. He did a great job for director of photography. Danny O'Reilly, my man. Danny's a stud, dude. If you watch anything Danny's in, go watch Quagmire Films, Brandon TV on YouTube. Guy's killing it. He does a lot of comedy stuff, which you wouldn't know by this. Dan Kyle is a beast of a man. A beast of a man. A very talented actor, and he just has that intense look. Calvin Maury McCarthy. A little bit of salt to their pepper, because he's kind of the character of the group. He doesn't have to be not really a mad actor, but can really do anything I want him, and is actually a very funny person in and of itself. Jason Reynolds is a very talented actor. He is actually was the lead actor, or one of the lead actors, in my last short film, and I'm going to post that on the channel and do this same thing here in the next in the next week or so. That one's called The Audition. Arissa Durant at the end, a very talented actress. I was really glad I got to work with her on this one. And here's the cast all together. You can see I'm really good at naming people. Chet Ambular. I don't think anybody in the history of people has ever been named Chet Ambular. Anyways, people I didn't talk about. Anashay Taj, one of the lead actors in my first short film I ever did. Again, I'm going to post that and do the same thing we're doing here. Very talented actor, a good friend of mine as well. And yeah, love you, Anashay. Michael P. Jones, we couldn't have had those great locations without Michael P. Jones. Him and the Cascade Geographic Society let us use that place. Absolutely couldn't have made this film look any better if we went anywhere else. Gia Evans was one of the few people that was able to come out, and she was the one picking flowers in the one shot. Very nice, very talented. She's got so many talents that I can't just sit here and name them all, but Gia is amazing. Let's see the extras here. My mother, my stepfather, my aunt, Austin Rogers and Nick Sloan Moreno were both on the crew, and we're going to see what they did here. So, Lauren Plymate, my assistant director. Lauren is the kind of guy that when you say, hey, can somebody do this? Lauren is the guy who gets up and says, I'm on it, and is happy to do so. Everybody who has met Lauren Plymate loves Lauren Plymate, including myself. One of the best people I've ever met. Trevin Mador, again, we already talked about him. Great director of photography, just moved down to LA. If you're down in LA, give him a shout. Zach Smith, very talented makeup artist. Zach, I'll call you on the next one. Lauren also did sound for me. Jacob Sundahl, very talented camera op. He's very good at knowing just how to do everything with a camera and camera accessories. First assistant camera, Max Huskins. Max is the man. Really like to play with the bullhorn, as do I, but Max is a very consummate professional and nailed focus every time. Nate Parmalee, my best friend, second AC, brings those things you don't always see on set. He's the guy I'm bouncing ideas off all the time and telling me what works and what doesn't work. He's also the guy in post that has to look at these shots every 5 seconds because I'm like, hey, look at this. Hey, look at that. Another person that also does that, I'll tell you later. Nick Sloan Moreno. This is the first time I ever met Nick, and he was valuable to the production itself. He was the key grip, so he really helped out on basically everything that we needed. Austin Rogers. Austin Rogers is a young up-and-coming filmmaker himself. He was a script supervisor on this one, but go Google his stuff. He is very talented and somebody I think is going to be doing big things here soon. Sean Delgado. This one's tough. Sean is a friend of mine that I met through the filmmaker community. He needed some visual effects done for one of his shorts a few years back, and hired me to do so. And we became friends. And he worked on the last movie as my camera operator, and he worked on this one as the production assistant. And he passed away just a few weeks after we shot this from his battle with cancer. Sean, I miss you, buddy. I'm better for having known you, and hope wherever you are, you have peace and happiness, and your family is still here loving you as well as your friends. I love you, guy. Then we go to the music by Miles Ito again. Also, post-production is me, because why make a credit? It's another thing. Don't make 35 credits for yourself when you do one of these. Just broaden it. You know, I have my name's written twice. You don't need to litter your name with all the things that you do on your short films. Special thanks to my daughter, because my daughter, like my buddy Nate, is someone who always has to watch this. How does this look? How does this sound? What do you think? Do you think people are going to like this? She has to deal with it all because she lives with me. So big thanks to her. Big thanks to the Cascade Geographic Society and Michael P. Jones for letting us use that fantastic, fantastic set. And of course, this movie is in memory of my fallen friend, Sean Delgado. Again, I miss you, buddy. And yeah, Lunascope Media, the production company that I own, operate, and run. You can't go wrong with the Lunascope Media production, I guess. Or as you've seen here, you can go wrong. Yeah, that was tough. That was that was hard to break everything down, because again, I really liked this film. I'm really happy how it turned out. I'm a perfectionist, and people ask me, why do you make short films? Why not make full-length feature films? And right now, I'm trying to get to a point where I feel confident enough to do that. I want to make my mistakes when there's not a lot of money on the line. You know what I mean? Once I'm ready, which I think one more short film, and then I'll be ready, then we're going to have the fun stuff. And I'm still going to show you the behind-the-scenes stuff on this channel, even when I'm making feature-length films, because, yeah, we can all benefit from it. So, with all this being said, as you can see, we all make mistakes, but you learn from those mistakes. Keep creating. You don't learn if you make nothing. And just remember, this isn't a competition. We're all friends here. Let's all rise in this business together. I'll see you next time.